Howdy cow pokes, and welcome back to RimWorld Rawhide Part 4, where today's episode we begin by building our beautiful wall around our leather capital city, as well as fighting off a wild ostrich out in the desert heat. You know how it be out here in the wild, wild west. Shortly thereafter, we also recruited one of the tribespeople that we were force-feeding in a dark cave. Then, shortly thereafter that, Nixon finally arrived home from his caravan trip that we sent him out on last episode. We were all extremely happy to see him. Actually, a moment ago, I said that we recruited the tribesperson. We hadn't done that just yet. We just now done that. I was watching our slave build the wall, and we just recruited that tribesperson. So that's a quick correction. And we all finally rested after a hard day's work in our nice cottages. The very next day, we finally set up a workshop near town and started making some more clothing for our new recruit. Then, when daylight finally came, we had an outlaw coming to visit the town, no doubt just being nosy and trying to find out what's going on here. At least he wasn't raiding us, but that very well may come in the future. He could even be scouting out our lands. I considered killing him, but we spared him and he went on about his way. Then we had a large caravan coming to sell us some nice firearms. Now, as you know, of course, we are playing with the dual-wield mod, and we can actually dual-wield small rifles in each hand, as well as sawed-off shotguns, things like that. So I believe I went ahead and bought a pistol, if I'm not mistaken, and a smaller rifle, and that way everyone would have their own weapon, and some people would actually have multiple weapons. Some time later, I decided to build a alpaca pen. Now, I didn't want to segregate the animals, but I kind of wanted to segregate the animals a little bit, yeah. Our men and women worked tirelessly at moving mountains. They literally tore through boulders with pickaxes to make room for us to build on. And then once again, as if on cue, in the middle of the night, we are once again raided by the tribes of this land. God, do they hate us. They cannot stand even the stench of us. Lucky when they came, Cindy was out by the river and done a little dance to distract them long enough for everyone to get by the defenses and start shooting at them. Those tribespeople fought long and hard, but in the end they were no match for our technology of bullets and gunpowder and, that sort of thing. So we did end up extinguishing their little fire and sent them on the run. But the fun was not over yet. Shortly thereafter, a few days later, we had a mad group of raccoons coming to attack our town. Now, we were some good old boys, and we knew how to handle some raccoons with a few bullets. Late one night, we had a weary traveler named Chris asked to join us, which we promptly accepted. He made his way to the saloon where he met Dexter, and the two exchanged some friendly words, until Dexter had a mental break and then just started cursing and screaming at the new gentleman right there in the saloon. But that would be the least of our worries, as we now had our hulking prisoner Vulture on a rampage getting ready to escape the prison. So he sent two of our people in, and he promptly knocked the shit out of them and just beat them to a pulp there on the ground, and we had to send in more people to try and stop him. Luckily, though, after we sent Nixon in and everybody else had kind of loosened up Vulture a little bit, Nixon promptly knocked him to the ground, and everyone was okay for the most part. One of our colonists, though, was pretty pissed off about the whole ordeal with Vulture and decided to go curse at Dexter while he cooked some nice meals for the town. We then sent Nixon out on another wonderful expedition to sell some of our fine leathers and cloth that we'd accumulated over a short period of time to make us a little bit of moolah, maybe save up, maybe buy some more rifles. We may even end up buying some more animals at some point. While Nixon was away, of course, we managed to recruit Brigga, one of our prisoners that we'd been holding captive for a while. She would make a fine addition to the team, so we went ahead and armed her and prepared her for her duties around the town. After that, Nixon finally returned home with the alpacas and all the silver that he brought with him from the leather cells. We also bought another dog, a Labrador Retriever, that I promptly named a wonderful name, as you can see. Gilbert and Cindy would have to learn to love each other and maybe have some puppies. And once again, Vulture's maliciousness knows no bounds. He attacked Brigga in broad daylight in his cell and attempted to make another prison break to run away. Brigga turned on him with her weapon and began trying to defend herself, but he eventually knocked her down, once again just showing how powerful he is, and we had to bring in some other people to try and take him down. He actually picked up Brigga's rifle and turned on Albina to start firing. Albina had to sneak around the rocks and start attacking him to actually defeat him. But it wasn't all bad news in this episode. Somebody decided to throw a party in the saloon, and everybody in the town came to hang out and eat some meat meals next to the passive cooler and the game of in the dark saloon. And they all had a great time, though. Yeah, the party was a bit drab, though, because nobody had any alcohol or cigarettes or smoke leave. And once again, shocking to no one, we were once again being raided by some local tribespeople. So we rushed to our defenses, armed our rifles, put the bullets in the slot that the bullets go in, and we were prepared for battle, damn it. Lucky for us, though, the first group actually hit our traps. We didn't even have to fire a shot, and then they began fleeing. The second group attempted to kill our husky just outside the city walls, but luckily she ran away in the nick of time, and they were unable to murder her. And finally, the third and final group began attacking us. Luckily, though, once again, our traps done most of the work. We did fire a few bullets off at some of the tribal people that were attacking us. But luckily, there were no real injuries on our part, nothing bad enough to worry about. It could have been a lot worse, honestly, but we did survive. And yeah, thankfully, we arose victorious. Once again, the tribespeople proved once again not to be a true threat as of yet. Ooh, foreshadowing. After everything with the raid was done and settled, I decided to go ahead and finish up a new storage building. It was about time we got all our junk out of that old tent we set up when we first moved to town. So we put the roof on and started shifting all of our loot and our silver and basically everything into this new building. Just as well, I realized that the graves that we dug for all our enemies that we've murdered thus far probably should be moved, because it would be nice to be able to build something here, something small, even though most of it is on soft sand, so we didn't have a lot of room to work with. But I just figured that we should go ahead and get those moved and out of the way. And by moved, I mean slightly relocated to the other side of the mountain in a pile. And sometime later, I finally recruited Heaping Menace prisoner Vulture into our ranks. He would be extremely useful, especially for some upcoming projects around the city. And believe it or not, once again, in the middle of the night, we got another notification that we were being raided. The tribes of this land will not stop. I really can't blame them. We kind of set up shop right in the middle of their lands. But I don't see any deed, so we're going to stay here and we're going to fight our way through it. Luckily, we also had a merchant from a neighboring tribe also coming to town, so this may just be a little interesting. It didn't take but a few moments, a few bullets, and a few spike traps to ward off the enemies that were coming on our section of the wall. However, I decided to leave a door open near where the merchants were staying. That way, the invaders would have to fight the merchants if they wanted to come through our town and start burning our crops and burning our everything. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, Rat Knight, you're exploiting these tribes people to fight against one another. No. Look, I even saved one of their people and stuffed some sand into her wounds and then sent her on her way. I'm a good guy, huh? I'm nice, right? And after the two tribes had slaughtered one another, we found some nice time to go ahead and research and make some nice clothing for the town. Ah, such soothing work after such bloodshed. And then late one night, Vulture, who decided to take forever to be recruited, also decided that he wanted to run away. He didn't want to be here anymore. So I sent Nixon out with his rifle to go ahead and convince him to stay. And then after our first harvest of tobacco crops that we were growing, we finally made our first packs of cigarettes. Also foreshadowing that people will most likely become addicted to nicotine after this. But I thought that it would be a nice crop that we could grow and sell on top of our leather or wool and other wares and just animals in general, and it would bring us in a pretty penny. Just as well, I also decided to go ahead and mine some components, and we would actually go ahead and do some gas-powered lighting. They did require components, of course, for that. I think this is a really wonderful looking lighting, and just as well, it doesn't require any fuel. So that's great because most of our lighting currently sucks up all the wood, what little bit of wood we've been growing. So I think this is going to be a good alternative. We're going carbon neutral here in the western town. But that's going to conclude this part of our RimWorld Rawhide series. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Please stay tuned for the next one. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you have enjoyed, though. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. You're absolutely wonderful. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.